We now have a Google Maps overlay, and it matches the Google Maps, the actual map styling. But I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in this video, but if you look closely, let me zoom in, there is a small problem, and if you're a perfectionist, it's going to bug you. And I'm going to show you the hoops you have to jump through to fix this small problem. So you might be able to notice that the map here, the color is the same as the tile overlay color up here, but right here there's a thin light colored line. It's sort of the border of where the overlay ends and the map begins. And it might be a little more noticeable if we go over here. If I can find it. Yeah. So you can sort of see right here the line. And let me see, maybe I can zoom in a little more. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it, but there it is. Now, if that line bothers you, then you have to use something other than MapTiler to make your tiles. But it's still a good thing that you ran MapTiler. And the reason is because the thing we're going to use requires that XML file that MapTiler created. So if I go into my Parnassus tiles directory, so MapTiler created this Google Maps HTML. We actually don't need that. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. But again, you can look at it to see some samples of how to do stuff in Google Maps API version 2. So here is the XML file that it created, that MapTiler created. And as you can see, we probably could have done this ourselves somehow, but it would have been annoying. And we're going to use something called GDAL, the number 2, tiles.py. GDAL2tiles.py. In fact, let me just type it right here. GDAL2tiles.py. I went ahead and installed, I should say, installed version 1.7. It required also, obviously, if you're on Windows, you'll need to install Python. Even on the Mac, I had to go ahead and install the Python image library and the NumPy library. Okay, so what you find is you can type the command line GDAL2tiles. Don't do this yet. -R anti-alias is what you want. -S WGS84. You might remember that from our MapTiler settings. And then -Z. These are the zoom levels, and so we do 14-21. -N -W none, and then you find your source there. Mine's called pzoid.ping. You might remember it's kind of trapezoid shape. And then you specify where you want to put it. And in my case, I want to put it. I'll put the results in that directory. Okay, so you could run this program, and it would take a while to run because it's creating all your tiles again. And then you'll find that you still have that line. What you want to do, and this gets a little ridiculous, what you want to do is go to this URL, stackoverflow.com/questions/5986248. And there you will see a question I posted about this, and eventually the answer I provided. But it basically involves opening up GDALtiles.py and altering the way it does anti-aliasing. Just you can just copy the code block that I put in there over the code block that's there right now. If you've never hacked Python before, be aware that white space indentation matters, so preserve the indentation appropriately. So I've already made that change, so now I'm going to run this, and it should produce a borderless image. I'll be back. 1 cup of coffee later, it's finished running. And we now have all our tiles. Run the move what is it? It's called movetiles.sh. I'm going to wait for this to run. Okay, great. Now, remember, I still have to run PNG-NQ and optionally PNG-Crush to make the tiles even smaller. But just really quickly, just to see if it's even working and to confirm that the border problem is gone, and it sure is. So great. So there's no edge there visible anymore. That's nice. Zoom out a bit. So that gets rid of the border. Okay, so now we want to vastly reduce the size of these tiles. So let's go to our tile directory, and let's see, it's 40 megabytes of stuff. We want to find dot-name, everything that's a PNG. We want to run it through PNG NQ-N256, which is the default. You don't really need that, but whatever. Okay, it's going to take a while. We'll be back. Okay, so that completed. So now we have to rerun PNG-Crush. So we can then just run the command 616 here, which is the find PN crushing, PN crush all of the NQ-ated PNGs. All right, there we go. All right, so we'll see how long this takes. Okay, so PNG Crush finished running. Now let's. So as you can see, we have 3 of every PNG. So we have the initial starting version, we have the version after running NQ8, and we have NQ, rather PNG NQ, and then we have this version, which is the final version after running PNG Crush. So first, let's remove all the files. Whoops, yeah, all the files that. There we go. So this will remove all the files named anything-nq8.png. So let's get rid of those. So now what we want to do is, we should only have 2 of each file, and we do now. So what we want to do is we want to find everything that's a file that is named -nq8.png-final.png, and we want to move it to itself, but we want to get rid of the nq8.png-final.png part. So this should do it. No, clearly I did something wrong. To move. Oh, I need to close out the double quote. Okay, so this is what we want to do. All right, there we go. Oh, there we go. All right. Hey, that looks good. Oops. Okay, so we now only have 1 of each file. Now, you might recall that when I checked the size of all the tiles at the start, it was 40 megabytes. Let's see what it is now. It's 22 megabytes. So we've cut the file size, not quite in half, but that's pretty good savings, and that'll be good for the mobile devices that don't work over a fast network necessarily. So let's go over here and just make sure it still looks like we want it to look. Looking pretty good to me. And yeah, this is I'm liking it. And you zoom in and it still looks pretty crisp there. You can read everything. The circle looks like a circle. I think we're good.